Где BBC, где CNN, где представители Токио, где их журналисты? Они просто боятся увидеть правду.
These are not journalists. These are stenographers for war criminals. These are stenographers for empire.
Вы что инцидентом называете, господин Мельник? Убийство этих детей – это для вас?
In fact, Russia hit this itself. Russia had veered UAVs into this site that were Ukrainian. Are you kidding me? This has been ongoing since 2014.
Это было целенаправленное убийство детей.
Trump's a criminal. And Trump is responsible for the death of civilians in the Donbass and in Crimea and in the other parts of the Russian Federation.
Где BBC, где CNN, где представители Токио, где их журналисты? Они даже объяснения не могут грамотно подобрать, чтобы не приехать. Они не приехали. А почему? Они просто боятся увидеть правду. Они ее не хотят видеть и не хотят ее слышать. Представитель Украины, господин Мельник, на заседании Совбеза ООН говорит, что? Он говорит о том, что это инцидент. Вы что инцидентом называете, господин Мельник? Убийство этих детей – это для вас инцидент.
CNN was on vacation. It's just so.
Listen, the BBC and the CNN were invited by the Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs to come to the site with us.
Mm-hmm.
They both declined.
Mm-hmm.
Japanese media barred their journalists.
Yeah, they're not allowed.
Not allowed to come. And many other foreign journalists from Europe were not allowed by their countries to come. What are they hiding? Why not come? I thought journalism is the search for truth. I thought somehow these journalists were the ones who are going to expose the crimes, who are going to bring the truth to their viewers and listeners. But as I said on Rick Sanchez's show, which you'll see tomorrow, we're going to post it. And I think it's a very important episode. I said that these are not journalists. These are stenographers for war criminals. These are stenographers for empire. These are stenographers for the worst barbarity that we have seen in our time. And so in that way, they're not journalists. I have much more journalistic freedom working here than I would ever have in the US. Why? Because in the US, in the UK, especially in the countries of the European Union and the NATO countries, you are a tool, you are an instrument of the political elite. You are an instrument of their foreign policy. And so therefore, why are you going to go to this area, this site, where your government's intelligence, arms, supplies have helped to perpetrate this atrocity? You can't spin that. You cannot spin that. Even though now the Latvians, the Lithuanians, and many other countries have tried to spin this as it is Russian disinformation. It's propaganda. In fact, Russia hit this itself. Russia had veered UAVs into this site that were Ukrainian. Are you kidding me? You're telling me that Russia took all of these UAVs and then targeted their own university and killed their own students? How stupid do you think we are? You see, we're not stupid because this is not the first time this has happened. And this is not happened since 2022. This has been ongoing since 2014. 12 years of atrocities against civilians in the Donbass. 10,000 plus, near 20,000 plus civilians have been casualties of the war crimes of the Ukrainian fascist regime and their mercenaries and Western sponsors and allies. That's the truth. That's the reality. And the Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, listen, we were on with the Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs team today. Everybody said, we're open. Anybody can come. No problem. They don't have to agree with anything. I mean, the BBC has an office. Steve Rosenberg is in Moscow. He didn't show up. There are a lot of Western media teams that are in Moscow. Nobody showed up. Nobody.
It's just so startling to me. And this isn't a slight against anybody, so forgive me, and I don't mean any offense. They allowed Western journalists, well, I don't know if I was, the Western journalists went to Manab, excluding our independent Western journalists. Western journalists went to Manab. I'm startled by the lack of any coverage of the strike on Starobelsk. I'm startled by it.
Me too.
And I am contrasting it with, now I think Manab got a lot of coverage, relatively speaking, not enough because obviously the tragedy. But this is getting none at all. Not a peep. And for Japan to make it illegal, and obviously the Euro bros came out immediately calling it fake. Some call it AI. I guess those smells that you smelled were AI, were put into a virtual reality helmet and taken on a trip. But they didn't do that. They obviously blamed Iran for Manab, but other than that, it's really startling to me because it's almost like they hate Russia more than they hate Russians, I should say. They hate Russians more than they hate Iranians. There's an air when they talk about Iran, like we have to save the people from this government. Here, there's not even any of that. Or you can't even get any of that level of propaganda out of them. They hate Russians. They really hate Russians. Russians do not matter. They matter less than Iranians. And that's really not saying a lot for our mainstream media. That's crazy to think about.
This Russophobia is at the highest levels really since the Cold War, and maybe even higher in some parts. And I think that's something that we really have to focus on. By the way, I mean, for the Ukrainian government, we have to note these are still Ukrainians, quote unquote, right? But many of them were Ukrainian citizens in 2014, right? They have since changed their citizenship to the Russian Federation, but they're killing their own people. This is also a civil war. This is a brotherly war. This is a war that is trying to wrench the people from their history, their culture, their traditions, their religion, everything, their values, all of it. So that's even worse. They're killing their own.
I'm really stuck on this like lack of any, I'm just contrasting the two, how much they really despise Russians and do not care. And when you think about who runs the media and who runs the United States, it's obviously the Zionists for the most part and Trump. And the Zionists sympathize more with Iranians than they do with Russians. What does that tell you? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Let's go through some more of these assets, more from, and this is again from the site, the same woman is speaking. This is Russia's Human Rights Commissioner, I can never, Lantratova. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Пишут о том, что работали ПВО, что якобы ПВО сбили эти БПЛА. Ну, послушайте, чтобы ПВО сбили эти БПЛА, во-первых, рядом должны быть военные объекты, которых здесь просто нет. Это первое. А во-вторых, 16 БПЛА, которые 3 реактивными волнами летели, каждый понимает, что это просто невозможно было. Это было целенаправленное убийство детей. Так это и называется.
You were there. How close is, they did the same thing with Manab. They tried to say, oh, this is right next to a base. We had you guys go there. And even the New York Times went there and said there's nothing. How close is this to anything, any military installations or anything?
The closest military installation was about 45 minutes away.
Driving. So at least a good 30 kilometers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
Nowhere close. This was a small rural town with a university that was founded in the 1920s, and it was the most quaint kind of, Fiddler on the Roof-esque. We were joking, when we were getting there, that the whole area just reminded you of something out of the movies. The rural part of the Donbass, very nice. The buildings were older. It was very beautiful, and everybody knows each other. Very small community. We walked around the entire area like in 20 minutes.
Feels really deliberate, like Manab.
Yeah, for sure it was deliberate. No doubt about it. And what I'd like to show now is the drone parts. And of course, what I really want to show, we're going to show you now.
Some more similarities between the West and, the attack on Manab and the attack on Russia.
authorities to give their own evaluation of what happened here.
And I'll just quick play the video you want to play.
Пострадало более 40 тысяч человек. Они говорят, что они борются якобы за свою территорию, якобы за граждан. Но послушайте, они их делят на первый и второй сорт. Украинские журналисты называют жителей Донбасса генетическим мусором.
Over 12,000 civilians were killed and 40,000.
So there you have it.
There you have it. That was video. Those are all my videos from today. And you saw Starlink terminal. And they had a bunch of different Starlink components and things like that. But I made it very clear in my videos. This is the responsibility, and the war crimes rest also on Elon Musk, on his companies, and on the United States for providing the intelligence, the know-how, the technical capabilities to carry something like this out. It would not be possible without the US's support. Sometimes people are like, okay, well, we can't badmouth Trump because we're having some peace talks. Fuck that. And
Who said that?
No, some people say it. Some people are like, oh, well, we are, we got to be careful. We don't want to. No, I'm not being careful. I don't have to be careful. Trump's a criminal. And Trump is responsible for the death of civilians in the Donbass and in Crimea and in the other parts of the Russian Federation. That's just a fact. Trump's first term helped to train, his administration helped to train Azov, Georgian Foreign Legion, Pravi Sector, and all these other neo-Nazis and fascists and nationalists in Ukraine. Yes, I'm sorry. That's just a fact.